This presentation identifies 6 principles of effective feedback based on current research in a secondary school environment. These principles will be discussed with reference to best practices strategies in the classroom. Feedback, according to Hattie and Timperley, is when an agent, such as a teacher or peer, gives information to a student on their current learning and what they need to do next in order to progress and bridge the gap. Feedback comes second after instruction and can promote learning and changes at a cognitive level when it is implemented effectively. These 6 principles have been identified through this literature review from over 20 different studies. Effective feedback should provide opportunities for the student to focus on the activity in order to close the gap between current and desired performance. It should help the student identify and encourage beliefs which develop their self-esteem, as well as provide opportunities for teachers to develop their own teaching practice. This can be accomplished by the delivery of timely, specific, high-quality information in a variety of methods that provide meaningful information in a range of formats to students. This, combined with the use of self and peer assessment, can aid in the development of their metacognition. Teachers need to emphasize what the student has achieved and state explicitly what they still need to do. It is this clarification of what the student knows and understands that is used to support their learning to the next stage. Feedback delivered with concrete examples are understood more clearly than examples that are abstract in nature. One way of supporting students to understand the criteria of the task is to involve them in the process of generating a marking key, as it is then written in a language that they understand and can act upon. They also have a better idea of what is required of them and what they need to do to succeed. A student's feeling about their success or failure has more of an impact on their effort than what actually happens in reality, according to Hattie and Timperley. Students' expectations of their grade, comfort level, and perception of their own learning are all factors that affect performance. Bolter et al. Found teachers that had created checkpoints in a unit of work supported students to pass the course through the use of simple questioning and problem solving, which in turn increased their self-confidence. Teachers can use the feedback from students' self-assessment and peer assessment to reflect on how much learning has occurred within the classroom. By interrogating these data, they can decide whether they need to reteach concepts to the whole classroom or to provide individual instruction. When developing a teaching program, teachers need to embed feedback practices in order for them to continually monitor student progress. It enables struggling students to be identified early and interventions to be implemented quickly and at appropriate times. Positive, non-specific feedback comments such as "try again" or "good work" do not support students as they do not offer any guidance. Negative feedback, both specific and non-specific, should be avoided, which can lead to task avoidance, especially with low-achieving students, and it can impact on their self-esteem. It is better to give feedback on what has been learnt and what needs to be done next. According to Cole et al. And Bolter et al., the timing of when feedback is given is extremely important and states it needs to be given immediately after the delivery of the student's work. Feedback should be given using a number of methods, which are dependent on what has been taught and in what phase of instruction the teacher is in. It is important that teachers become aware of the type and amount of feedback they give to their students in order to monitor their effectiveness. The use of praise, punishment, and extrinsic rewards are considered to be the least effective in improving student performance. Students will interpret feedback differently. Therefore, there is a need for variety to address their needs. According to Walker, personalized feedback can empower and equip students to take the next steps in their learning. For learning to occur, a shift in cognitive processing must occur from the current mode of thinking to the new. Therefore, feedback that triggers the metacognition processes of the learner is vital in order to change student thinking. Self-assessment coupled with peer assessment can go some way towards supporting students in developing their understanding of what they have achieved. Both self and peer assessment must be explicitly taught by the teacher, including the guidelines of what type of feedback to give. Until students are aware of their own weaknesses and gaps in their learning, no amount of telling or pointing out will help them. Feedback is an essential element of the teaching process and happens after instruction by an educator. It has the potential to affect student progress and to support them in their learning journey. There are some types of feedback that are more beneficial than others, including those that include specific comments associated with the task and content. The principles that have been addressed in this review outline those that have been found to be effective when they are implemented in a manner that addresses the individual needs of the student. The research highlights the need for further support in teacher training so that effective feedback can be delivered consistently amongst educators, schools and governing bodies. Teachers need to investigate how they give feedback currently and how their existing classroom practices could be modified and enhanced to gain better outcomes for their students. Through the use of mentoring programs, schools can develop effective feedback strategies that can be shared by all in the advancement of student learning. Here is a list of the references that were cited in this presentation. Thank you for your time.